Welcome back to On Football. In today's video, we're going to be taking a detailed look at the Nike Vapor Untouchable 3 Speed Cleats. These were part of a release that Nike did earlier this year when they released all the cleats in the Vapor line. If you see my other videos, you probably have checked out the Vapor Untouchable 3 Elite Cleats. That's the high version. The Vapor Untouchable 3 Pro Cleats. That's kind of the mid version. And then they have these, the Speed, which is the true low version. I have a pair of the Vapor Untouchable 3 Pro Cleats here. In this video, I'm going to give a comparison for you guys. I've gotten a lot of questions on what's the difference between these two cleats, the Pros versus the Speeds. I also am going to compare this cleat to something that Nike released almost 10 years ago, maybe even more, which is a classic cleat in Nike's line. This is a favorite of players time and time again. These are the Nike Super Speed cleats. So again, I think these came out around 2004, 2005. Around that time. So I still have a pair of these. Again, this is one of my favorites and remains a favorite of a lot of players in the NFL today. So I'll be giving a little comparison between this cleat and this and show you guys some of the similarities and some of the favorite things of this cleat that Nike brought back for the Speeds. First, let's talk about a lot of the similarities between the Pros and the Speeds. Now, in these cleats, Nike used the same upper. Now, if you look at the forefoot of both of these cleats, they're going to use the same upper. That's a mesh material that's going to be super adaptable for your foot. Now, in the Elite version, the highs, they actually use a fly wire, and they use fly knit throughout the whole cleat. This doesn't have any fly wire, neither does the Speed, and it doesn't have fly knit as well. You're going to have this mesh upper, like I said before, which is still going to give you that depth of fit, but it's not going to be as light as fly wire. Now, obviously, the Pros they're still a low, but they have this cuff on there, which gives you a little bit more of a secure feeling around your ankle. If you like that, this is definitely something I prefer. But if you like a true low, where you don't have anything above the ankle, where you have nothing touch your ankle, you don't like that secured fit, then you're gonna like something like the Speeds. Now, that's not the only difference on this cleat. Another big thing is going to be the heel counter. You can see the huge external heel counter on this cleat, where this heel counter just has something that's kind of built into the cleat. The material itself acts as the heel counter, and this is made of that same material, so you've got kind of a double heel counter, an internal one with the material, and then you've got the external, where the Speeds only have that internal heel counter. The other big difference on these cleats is going to be the plate at the bottom. This is the new Vapor plate that Nike's been using for the last couple years, but it's the most recent one. It's also the one that I think gives the best traction I talk about in all my videos. This is a plate that Nike brought back from years ago. They've used it on cleats like the Super Speeds that I have here. They've used it on cleats like the Alpha Speeds, which I don't have a sample of. But again, this is a fan favorite, it's a player favorite, and that's why Nike decided to bring it back. You can see the similarities here. They use rounded studs at the forefoot of the cleat. They have these directional studs that really propel you forward. And then they have these studs that are kind of pivotal studs, multi-directional at the heel of the cleat. And these are the studs that aren't my most favorite. As a DB, I've always liked the straighter blades at the back versus something more pivotal. So if you look at something like the Vapor Pros, these actually have multi-directional studs as well. However, they're more diamond shaped. So they have the straight edges that really help me better in multiple directions when I'm moving backwards. Where I would say that this cleat is more for forward propulsion and maybe some more turns. But I haven't felt as secure or stable when I've been backpedaling in a cleat like this. So I'll get to that when I recommend what type of players I think this cleat is for. So those are mainly the differences in what you see here in the Vapor Speed and what you see here in the Vapor Pros. Now let's get back to one of the OGs, the Nike Super Speeds. Besides the classic design, if you guys have seen this, you've probably seen this cleat in Madden. They've had it for a number of years, and you probably see it on the feet of players in the NFL as well. This cleat is a major update. Now, this is back when cleats were really made of synthetic materials, closer to leather. They have this kind of vinyl material on the outside, and then they kind of have nubuck near the collar to make it super comfortable. It's almost very plush. The tongue is also super stretchy. You see how much that tongue actually stretches. It gives you a really locked in feel. This uses kind of an internal booty, same thing that this cleat uses. They have that in common. And then they have the plate as well. So this is gonna be a lot heavier just because of the materials, but you're really gonna have a secured, locked in feeling that I kind of call like a battle feeling. Like if you're going to war, you're going to battle, you wanna feel like you're protected. A lot of the newer cleats these days, like this are very, very, very lightweight, and you don't get that feeling. You know, it's all about speed versus all about, you know, power and protection. So that's what you get with this cleat, one of the older cleats in Nike's line. Now with the new ones and the materials, it's a very, very lighter feel. Now they're both gonna have zero space technology. That's what Nike used to call it back when they made the Vapor Carbons. There's almost no space for your foot. This is a size 12, where your foot's not gonna move at all. You put on any size sock and your foot is not gonna move. Now with this, you're still gonna have more room in the toe box. This is the Pro, and that's something that when you go back to the speeds, it's gonna be more of a true fit, where you're not gonna have as much room in the toe box that's gonna give you that locked in feel. So these are gonna fit just about the same. Now that I gave you the rundown of the differences between the Pros and the Speeds, between the Super Speeds from years ago and the Vapor Speeds, let's get into everything that I talked about with cleats, what you're really gonna love, what you're gonna like, and some of the trade-offs if you decide to get this cleat. One of the first things that you're really gonna love about the new Vapor Speeds, the Vapor Untouchable 3 Speed cleats, is gonna be the weight. It's drastically lighter than any of the cleats that Nike has produced before. Now this is gonna weigh in at about the 10.4 ounce range. If you've seen some of my Adizero videos, that is a little bit less than the Adizero Prime Knit cleats and just a little bit more than the regular Adizero 7.0 cleats. So this is gonna be a very, very, very lightweight cleat for those of you looking for a lightweight cleat, a lightweight feel on your feet. The other thing that you're really gonna like about this, or that you're really gonna love about this cleat, is gonna be the adaptable fit. Because they use the mesh material, so let me take this out. Because they use the mesh material with this is gonna be super adaptable for any type of foot shape. Now it's gonna still have a very narrow plate because it is a Vapor cleat. You can see how narrow this plate is throughout the arch, the heel, and then even the forefoot. But because of the adaptable mesh at the top, kind of this mesh upper, you're really going to have that adaptable fit. So you're gonna really feel like some of the older cleats, a little bit closer to something like the Vapor Carbons that everyone knows and loves. One of the differences I talked about with this cleat was the actual plate that doesn't use carbon in the plate, something that the Vapor Pros and the Vapor Elites do use. Now, because there's no carbon and because of the material in the plate, this is actually going to be a much flexible plate, much more flexible plate than something like the Pros. Now you can see this plate, it's not gonna bend. See, this doesn't bend nearly as easy as something like this. And again, this is something that a lot of speed players, a lot of receivers like, a lot of DBs like. That's why sometimes you see them wearing soccer cleats, because soccer cleats, the plate is super, super flexible. Now, I definitely prefer the carbon. It gives a snap to it. This is not gonna have that snap, but you're not gonna feel as heavy because these bend so easily. There is gonna be a little bit of a break in time with that, but definitely this is something that you guys are gonna love. If you like that lightweight feeling and you like having that maneuverability and you don't like that break-in period, you're not gonna experience much with this cleat. The last thing I put in this category is the price. I don't think you're gonna find another cleat for $90 that's going to give you the lightweight flexibility that you find in this cleat. So for $90, I'd say this is the best cleat so far in that price range, bar none. Now let's talk about some of the things that you're really going to like about this cleat. I talked about the flexible plate is something that you're gonna love. What you're gonna like is the actual traction in the studs in this plate. Now it's not my favorite, like I said before, in the Vapor Untouchable 3 Elite cleats and the Pros, they use the carbon plate and they have the diamond studs. I really like that for traction. I think it's one of the best. Now this uses a different plate that, again, a lot of players like, but I think it's just something that you're gonna like. It's not gonna give you that same traction that you're gonna have with something in the Vapor Untouchable Pros and the Vapor Untouchable Elite cleats. So it is gonna be a good plate. You're gonna get that forefoot. I really think it's for forward propulsion, like going forward, not so much backwards, not so much side to side, but that is something that you're going to like in this cleat, this classic plate that Nike brought back. Something else that you're gonna like is the internal booty that's in this cleat. Now, I compared it to the Super Speeds, which have the same internal booty, but these cleats also have this compressive, stretchable tongue. I wish Nike brought that back, because while this does have the booty on the inside, which is gonna add to that adaptive fit, it doesn't stretch. So you're not gonna get that compressive, locked-in feel that you get in the Super Speeds, but you are gonna have this internal booty, as you can see, So it almost appears as one piece, and it's going to help secure your foot inside and make it a little bit easier when you lace them up when you slide your foot inside. With every cleat, there's obviously going to be trade-offs with this. You know, at a $90 price point, you're not going to get the same thing that's in a cleat like the Elite cleats. But also, a lot of you guys don't want what's in Elite cleat, which is why Nike made something like the Vapor Speeds. But some of the trade-offs are obviously going to be no fly wire, which always adds to the adaptive fit. No carbon, which I personally like, adds that propulsion, that springiness in your step, and the colorways. Now I really do like the colorways that Nike has in this. They have the white with kind of this combine colorway. It's a fluorescent kind of orange. In the sun, in the light, it actually turns from like an orange to like a yellow, burnt orange, yellowish color. They've got an all black and all white. They've got a white and blue, white and red, white and green, black and yellow. They've got a lot of different colors. However, majority of the colorways do have this white base with another color at the forefoot. This is something that is a trade-off because a lot of this is going to get dirty. Like you can already see here, I've used this a couple times where the white has already started to discolor. It's already different than the outside. And I've used these on turf, haven't really used them in grass. So that's something that's going to be a trade-off for this cleat. The other trade-off that all the cleats have nowadays is going to be the plate. So anytime you have a shiny plate like this, again, this is the combine colorway, you are going to see some chipping in the plate. If you use it regularly in grass or on turf, you're probably going to get some chipping. I do feel, however, in the last couple years that the cleats have gotten better because none of my plates have actually chipped yet. And they used to show some wear and tear even in testing, but now I haven't seen a lot of that. So that's definitely something that hopefully they improve, but I did have to put in the trade-off category. The last thing I want to tell you guys is what players I recommend this for, because that's a question that you guys always ask me. Like I said before, really for your speed players that are going forward, I think this is a great cleat for. So wide receivers, I think you're going to love this cleat. This is one that you're going to feel light on your feet. For all you guys who use soccer cleats out there, this is going to be a cleat that you're going to want to look at. The reason why you shouldn't be using soccer cleats is most of them do not have a toe cleat, which is not going to help you propel and go forward. It's actually going to add to the time that it takes you to run a little bit. Also with soccer cleats, a lot of you guys like them because the plate is so flexible, and I think they're a little too flexible. That can result in turf toe, some injuries. This plate should still have the standard to prevent some of that. The NFL definitely requires the cleat manufacturers to hold up to some type of standard where they're not too flexible. That's going to result in injury. So you're still going to have a lot of flexibility with this. Like I showed you, much more than the pros and the elites, but still gonna be able to protect yourself. If you have these cleats, if you purchase them, definitely let me know in the comments below. Tell me what you think of them. Tell me if you're coming from another cleat, like a Pros from last year or the Speeds from last year. Tell me if you're coming from another brand and what cleat you wore. Definitely wanna hear what you guys think about this. If you like this video, remember to give me a thumbs up, share, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.